Welcome, everyone, to RAF Reviews. That's Respawn Aimfire Reviews. Inscryption. Welcome. We're going to talk today about the game Inscryption. And I will say up front, before we introduce anybody, before we do anything, stop right now. Stop it. Go through this checklist in your mind. Have you played this game? Have you beat this game? If you answered no to any of the above, stop it. Don't listen to this. Don't look. Stop looking at it. Close your eyes. Close your ears. Throw your phone in a pool. They're waterproof now. They can't do that. Throw your phone in the quarry. In a quarry. Because we're going to be talking spoilers as we review Inscryption. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Michaelinis. We've got us Adam Billy Goat Gumbert as well. Say hey, Adam. What's up?
I'm here, grabbing for your neck.
Ooh. You've got the same hands that are on the screen right now from the screenshot. And we also have with us Jerica. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me, Hannah. How are you, Jerica?
That's me. Hello. Doing well.
Jerica, we are so excited to have you here. It's been a while since you've been on Respawn Aimfire production, so it is wonderful to see your face again. If people, for some reason, haven't been listening to Respawn Aimfire for the last 5 years that it's been around, 5 freaking years? 6? I don't know, something like that. What do you do, and where are you from?
You know, I'm just this gal that occasionally talks about video games, and, you know, I have gas this evening, had a few beers, so that's all I'm about, you know? And occasionally I do a podcast with my co-host, Kayla. We have a podcast at JK Games Podcast. Yeah, that thing. JK Games Podcast. You know, Jerica, Kayla, JK. Not just kidding. It's just, you know, the first letters of our name together. So very easy to understand, but you should check us out.
Dope. Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. Again, this is spoiler heavy. There will not be a non-spoiler version of this review. It will not start with no spoilers and end in a spoiler discussion. This is your last warning, Brent. Stop listening. Yeah, I called you out. That kid watched The Last of Us Part 2 spoiler review we did with Jerica on it. The entire thing without having played the game.
Oh my God.
I know.
I do that all the time. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, for The Last of Us Part 2, get out of here. But we're not talking about The Last of Us. We are talking about Inscryption, which is, at first blush, it's a deck-building game from the publishers at Devolver Digital, the development studio that I have forgotten to look up. Do you know off the top of your head, Adam?
It's Daniel Mullins is the guy who did
Daniel Mullins. It's like D. Millie Games.
Yeah,
Daniel Mullins Games.
The guy.
The guy, yeah. Same guy who's in the videos, all the FMV videos. FLV?
I think that's a different guy.
Different guy?
Yeah, that's an actor.
Different guy.
Or a real person.
I thought that too. I don't know what the actual guy looks like.
Well, this is a game that came out last year, and Adam's like, this is the best game that's ever been made this year. And I'm like, whatever, PC nerd. I'm never going to play that game because it's only on PC. Not even on my Mac computer, even if I wanted to play it. And then it did eventually come to Mac, and now it's on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, so all the people of the world can enjoy it, and that's where I played it. So Adam, you played it last year, and Jerica, you just recently found it. Tell me about your experience with it.
Yeah, I of course played it on PC. I just was in a mood because I've been playing, you know, lots of Destiny, and I just needed a palate cleanser, and I wanted something different. And you know, I feel like it was on a lot of people's lists for like their game of 2021, and I just never got to it, and really because it just looked like a creepy card game, and I was like, I'm not gonna get into that. I don't play digital card games on my phone or on my computer or whatever. You know, I'm just not that type of card game player. So at first glance, I was like, I don't know if it's something I would get into. But, you know, I started seeing people like talk about it online without giving any spoilers. And as soon as I saw someone was like, don't look up anything about this game, please play it. And that is a big selling point for me. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I love a game that's like, don't go into it knowing anything. And like, that's always, I know it's going to be an experience that I'll enjoy. So that's what got me into it. And I'm really glad I started it. Luckily, the card game is really fun. And I guess I play card games. I guess I'll play Solitaire next. You know, I hear that's a good one.
Solitaire's great. I love whenever like the Jack like stabs the 7 through the heart too. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty violent and enjoyable, you know. So yeah, I hopped into it, and it was definitely not what I thought it was, and it broke the fourth wall a few times, and that is right up my alley. I don't. We'll get to that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But I have something to say about what it opens up to after you beat like the first act. I jumped out of my seat and I was just like, I turned around because Audrey was like working from home, my girlfriend, right behind me. And I turned around, I'm like, this game is more than what I thought. This is awesome. So I just like couldn't keep it in. I'm so glad it came to PlayStation because literally, she has not been able to put down Destiny for years now. That's all she plays.
It's a problem.
And it is. But she put down Destiny to play this game, and she's literally probably playing it right now downstairs. So it's a great game. Can make Audrey put down Destiny. You should play it 10 out of 10.
Excellent. I played it because of Audrey, you're not supposed to watch this yet. She's in the chat right now. It says, I am playing it. You're not supposed to watch
already
this
beat
yet.
it. She could play.
Oh, okay.
Or she could listen. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I was in the same boat, playing a ton of Destiny, and I was like, shut the fuck up and play this game finally. It's on PlayStation. And I'm like, shut up. And then he's like, don't do it. And same thing, the curiosity of like, don't know anything about it going in. I was like, okay, I'm in. I am a card game type person. I was one of those beautiful nerds in high school who had an extensive Magic the Gathering collection. Lots of decks there. We used to bring them on camping trips at Boy Scouts, all that kind of stuff. I was really into Hearthstone for a couple months when it first came out, but I haven't done anything card collecting or anything like that, or card gaming, in maybe 10 years. And this game has stoked that fire in me. I know that it's so much more than that now that I've played through it. But it's also like started to give me the itch that maybe I want to do Magic the Gathering. Maybe I want to do Hearthstone. What's the other one from Steam? Not Steam, Valve. Maybe I want to do whatever the fuck that one is. I don't know. Maybe you have to have a PC for it. But yeah, card games. They're back in my want list, my category. But I also want something to collect too. But that's besides the point. We're talking about the game. Adam, do you even remember what this game is? You played it so long ago.
Yeah, no, I remember what it was. It was my game of the year 2021. I'm glad you finally listened and stopped being so bullish, big-headed. Just thinking of animals. No, it's a great game. I played it very late in the year. I think I didn't play it till like November, December, because I was just going through the list of like, what is everyone's things on their list? And then I played this game, and I beat it, and I was like, well, that's automatically number one. I didn't have to think about it again. It is that impressive to me. Not, again, just the roguelike card playing part is awesome, and then everything else makes it even better. And I don't know, it's great. I don't know what to tell you. It's good. It's a very good video game. So I was all in, man, especially not knowing what's going on. And then you find out, and then you're like, let me go to Twitter. Let me go to Reddit real quick. Let me see what's going on around here. And it's wonderful.
This is an open question. This will kind of like start our discussion about the game. An open question for either of you. Is there a specific moment you can think of or point to where you realize like, oh fuck, this game is something different. This game is special.
I think for me, it was just when I started to discover I could leave the table and that there was like little clues around the room. And I was like, ooh, what's this? I started touching things and I was like, man, I love escape rooms. So this is pretty cool. And I was like, I don't know if I should be creeped out. Like, I love scary games, like any kind of like creepy, throw a zombie at me. I'll take it, hold on to it, hug it, try to kill it afterwards. I love a creepy game. And immediately the vibe, like it's like this old school style, like, I don't know, would you play it on a floppy disk? It's very floppy disk-esque games that we used to play a long time ago. But it's just got a weird mystery. You don't know if you're supposed to be scared or not. So just standing up from the card table and being able to explore, I was like, this is cool. I don't know if there's more to it. Is this the thing that makes this game special? But I have to say, like, there's many points where I was like, this game is more than what it is multiple times. And I think that's what makes it really fun.
Adam, what
getting
about
up
you?
from the table. That moment's great. Doing the thing where it's like, hey, pick an eye because you cut your eye out. And then it's like, well, this one looks special.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, look at everything everywhere. All that's awesome. All that's great. And you go through that entire first act. And then the camera pulls out, or the fucking camera stops, and it's fucking old Lucky Card gamer boy over here, Lucky Carter. And it's like, oh, all right,
What?
now we're getting into it. It's like, oh, I'm a dude recording this for my YouTube channel, which, by the way, was a real YouTube channel that was put out before the game was put out. So you could randomly have found this before the game ever came out.
I fucking love that.
So, yeah, everything in that first act is wonderful, and then you get a pull out, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And it gets even crazy, and just keeps getting more crazy. So, yeah, that's all great.
I'm a sucker. I'm sorry. I just like I'm
No,
a
go for it.
such a sucker for found footage. Like any crappy scary movie, if there's found footage, I'm gonna watch it. Like the Blair Witch Project, obviously the first and one of my favorite scary movies of all time because you never really get to see like what it is that's supposed to be scary. And as soon as I saw like found footage, that was the moment I jumped up and turned around to Audrey and I was like, "There's found footage in this game? I can't talk to you." And then I was like, "I don't want to tell you about this." I'm like, "This is just amplified now." So. For sure, I agree with Adam. That's awesome.
I was sucked in and knew this was going to be something cool the first time you die, which for me, I made it I made it to the third person. Like you fight the prospector and then the
Angler.
right? Fish person.
Yes.
And then there's the other person. And I made it to that
hunter?
third person on my
With the
first
pelts?
round. Yeah, with the pelts. And yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I made it to that person on the first round and then I died and it takes your picture, and then you create a card from everything that you had in there. And that's when I was like, oh, this is like, I'm going to be able to like trick out my deck, not just with like things that I find along the way, but I can create cards and create power. And that's when I realized like, oh, this is a cool deck building game. Little did I know that it was so much fucking more than that.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Just about the making a card stuff. I didn't have this happen to me a ton, but did you get cards like those created cards that you didn't make yourself?
What do you mean? Like cards from others? I got in one of the boss battles in the last area, the last act of the game. You were there. you were an opponent in there. You were a card from the opponent, and people were sending me. Yeah, I would get cards made from other people during that, but not in the first part of the game.
I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe in the first part, when you had your Steam's friends list, if your friends were playing it and also made those cards in the first act, you could randomly pull their cards. You're like, who the fuck is Frank Castle 69? I guess I'll use it because it's a good card. But it's like, oh, that was my friend's also dead person card. But you don't know that. I'll tell you that.
Shit.
At all. It just happens.
Well, I feel bad for anyone that got my cards because I was naming all my death cards: titty, butthole, get fucked times 2. As they got unbelievably stronger. But I loved when Titty showed up. I'm like, oh God, here it's about to go down.
That's awesome. But speaking of like getting up from the table, part of my favorite thing about this game is that there are so many secrets. I love a good game with secrets. And there are so many secrets that you don't necessarily have to figure out or find, although I brute forced my way through most of them. Like, for instance, the cuckoo clock. And the safe, the combination in the very first room, the cuckoo clock and the safe. I got up and I was just like, all right, well, there's a safe here. I could find the combination, or I could try every single combination until this opens up. And I did. And then I went to the clock and I rotated all 3 hands and I wasted so much time doing it, but I got whatever was in there. It was a card, I think it was. Yep.
Yeah.
And I got all those really early too, just because I was like, fuck. Although you had to wait for I got the ring out of the cuckoo clock right off the bat, but the other one wouldn't show up until you had the eyeball and wouldn't pop until you had the eyeball. But
you know what's real fun? Is the first time you get the fucking stoat. That son of a bitch. I fucking hate that idiot. But when you get all those... That was another moment, too. You're like, all right, I'm playing this game. All right, I gotta come back. And then your card fucking talks to you. He's like, hey, you should play me, you fucking asshole. I can see you. And that's a great time. Also, funny thing, you notice when you first start the game, there's no new game. There's only a continue game option.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, ooh.
Yep. Suck me in right there. Somebody suck me, as they say in The Mask and Dave. So this game has 3 very distinct areas, and I'm curious about what choices you both made and how it turned out for you and whether it was different from what it turned out for me. There's the intro area where you're in the cabin playing against like the nature person. I can never remember anyone's name. So there's like the nature person, Leggy.
Leshy?
I call him Leashy.
Leshy. Christina
The
Ricci.
same guy from that movie Men, by the way.
Oh.
That's the green dude. Anyways,
Well, I'm going to call him Nature Guy. Leshy Nature. So he was the first room where you go and fight him and you think that's the final boss of the game. In fact, I think I remember running a Destiny dungeon with Audrey And she's like, I'm going to go beat the boss of this game now. Or like, I'm on the boss or something like that. And then I died or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think that's what she was referring to. So when I got to it, I was like,
Yeah.
I got to this so easy on my third try. And it was like, just kidding. It's only like a quarter of the fucking game. So there's that. They established the card game. And then you're in the 8-bit world. And you're collecting the cards. You're now introduced to not only the nature part with like the sacrificing creatures and bones, but now you have gems. Now you have the like tech deck options too. And then you get to the third part where it's again in that kind of 3D environment. But I'm curious for you all how it all played out for you, because in my game they ask you, who do you want to replace, right? You're trying to replace one of the people, and I had a choice. And I chose the tech computery guy. What choice did you all make?
I think I picked the. Is it a beetle lady? Whoever Grim. I don't know.
Is that the
Grimma.
magic one, like the one with the gems and stuff like that?
Magic lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you and Adam, which one did you pick?
I took the Stoat guy, which it doesn't matter because he always jumps up no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stoke guy was the computery techie person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
EO3 or whatever his name
the
is.
last act of the game, for me at least, and I assume that's how it is for everyone, I'm playing through like the Stoke computery person's world. Was that the same for you, Jerica, as well?
Yes.
Regardless of who you chose to replace? Mm-hmm. How did that transition look for you? Like, how did that...
I think it is pretty similar experience for everybody, from
Okay.
what I could tell. When I did a little research, like I feel like the only thing, unless I'm wrong, which would be really really cool if I am, but I feel like the only, like Audrey actually found a boss in the third act that I didn't play against. Like I forgot. I guess I didn't get something that unlocked this boss fight. And there was another secret that I know I missed because I went back and I'm like, oh, I didn't do that. I can't remember exactly what I missed to trigger. It's like something with the demon skull guy, on the wall, like it's like a sheep. I don't know. Is it a bull? It's something on the wall. It looks demonic and its eyes glow. I feel like there was something with that in Act 2 that I didn't miss. But other than that, like from what I can find online, I think there's not a lot of outcomes, but if you guys had something different, I'd really be interested to know.
I was curious that like I happened to choose the Stoat computery guy, and that also happened to be the focus of the third act. And I was like, oh, does this change based on who you pick? So it
That's
sounds
a
like
really
it was the
good
same.
point. Yeah, I think it was the same for no matter who you picked.
Yeah, if you pick someone else, he's like, hold on a second. You thought wrong. And then he takes over anyways.
Yeah, there was a secret boss that I didn't even realize I missed in Act 2, the 8-bit world, until I was grabbing screenshots this afternoon for this. And I was like, what the hell? That's not an Inscryption screenshot. I was like, oh, fuck. No, that's just an area that I didn't unlock. It's like a little makeshift sailboat thing. Totally missed that.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite... Oh, I want to do favorite moments, bosses, cards... and then anything else that like you felt was noteworthy that you wanted to talk about and geek out about this game. Oh, and then we'll do the ARG, like the videos and the ARG part of it too. So let's start with like, what are some of your favorite moments from playing through this?
I guess I'll go. What do I really like? I really like all the ARG stuff. I'm gonna be very honest with you. That stuff is great. So I do love how the whole first act appears to be horror. Man, it's the story is my favorite part. I do like playing the game, especially when you get to the third part and it's like, hey, I hope you played with robots last time because here's the robot mechanic. So learn this real quick. Oh no, here's what it is. I got it. And I brought this up, Chad, whenever I was playing it. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work on a console that's not a PC. Whenever you're fighting, I think it's the scribe in the third act. And it's like,
The
hey,
archivist, I think,
upload a
right?
fucking... Oh,
No.
you're roboting real bad for me. By the
Oh,
way.
am I?
You gonna give me a
Robot,
second?
Oh, no,
robot.
it's part of the game.
It is. It's a
Yeah,
meta.
no,
It's a meta game.
He's out here to get us.
We're going to go to hold side for a hot second. We'll come right back.
We got
All right, sorry, we're back. Comcast sucks. Okay.
not the best.
The Archivist. We were talking about The Archivist.
Yes. Okay. So we were just talking. It's interesting how it happened to you, Chad. So the Archivist is in the third act. It's one of the little robots you got to fight, and they're like, "Hey," and it was crazy on PC. It's like, "Hey, I need to use your real PC to upload a file so you can make a card." It's like, "Yo," and then it's like, "Oh, here's my real ass files in my thing," and then you upload a file, and then they freak out because they're like, you need 50 kilobits, and it's like that's 4 gigs. And they're like, well, we don't know what to do with this. And that's what I was worried about on console. I'm like, you don't have a bunch of files on your hard drive to pull from. And I think, Chad, you showed me a screenshot of what happened. But on PC, that was wild, where it's like, oh, I can just cheese this because I can just literally give it as much power as possible. But what happened for you, Chad? Didn't they give you like a...
Yeah, so on
option?
PlayStation, obviously it's going to be much more difficult to have that kind of stuff. But they basically... You're playing the game at that point as the guy from the videos. And so it was just a dummy hard drive of all of his shit. So you go through and it would give you file sizes of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing I found on there was like 2.7 gigabytes worth of stuff. And I was like, okay, that did
I used my Moana 4K file, and it just destroyed everybody. It was great.
There was one point, though, when it asks you for something old, like the oldest file that you could find.
It does.
And there was something from on that guy's hard drive from like literally 100 years ago somehow. Like the date on it was 100 years ago. And I was like, oh shit, here we go.
You can just edit on a PC, just edit the file, change the date that it was created.
Yep.
Boom. Easy. Good stuff.
I did look up because it tells you like you're gonna use this file, or we're gonna have access to your drive and you use a file, and if you die, then it deletes it. Oh, you turn into a card, right? Something gets turned into a card.
I remember there is like a thread of something that's gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll delete this file
lose.
if that card dies.
Yeah.
And so I did look up, like, is this real? Does this delete people's shit? And apparently after it dies, it doesn't actually delete the thing. It just creates a file that's like the name of that deleted or trash or something like that, and says like, hey, be a good citizen and delete this for us. Like, you deserve it.
So that's a good moment for me.
Yeah, that was wild. One of my least favorite bosses. I enjoyed all the boss fights. I thought they were so cool and how each one of them had like a unique thing to do. But the one that drove me nuts was the one where you're making up the rules in the middle of it. It's in the third act.
Oh, yeah.
And you're making up the rules, and you have to, and they're all like, every time you play a character, a random card jumps on the board, or every time someone dies, all the spots fill up with like random ass shit. And it was, oh my God, that one was obnoxious, especially because you would make one move and then like 30 subsequent moves would happen that you have no control over, and you're like, stop it! Yeah. That one was, I barely made it through on my second attempt at that one.
Yeah. Another fun one in Act 2, when you go to the Wizard's Tower, and it's like your clues are like something talks about your ears and talks about, and you have to go to the settings of the game in audio, go to the settings, go to audio, and there's the little code. There's the clue.
What?
It's in the Wizard's Tower. I think you get to use it to get a card, but it's like, hey, the clues are basically go to your fucking settings in the video game, and the clues are in the settings of your video game.
Was that like for a secret thing, or was that I missed, or was that maybe something that was different on PS5?
Remember.
I don't remember.
I think it was a code thing. It reminds me of in Act 1, whenever like you go through the manual of like, here's how to play the game, and it's like 7-3 in the corner. It was that kind of a thing.
Gotcha. It might have been something that I brute forced too. That maybe I just like...
I definitely Googled it. I was like, I don't know what they're asking me to do.
Yeah. There's a couple times I definitely had to look up some answers because I was just like, I have no idea. And then it was so obvious after I found it. It's like, dang. But ultimately, like, I think I just liked how different each stage was, because I did not know going into it there's 3 acts. Like, I think just like Audrey did, like, I didn't tell her some things on purpose. You just think, oh, this is it. I finally beat the game. And it just like rips you apart. And it just like shows you this is going to be a whole other type of experience now. And you sort of have to like relearn to play the game each act. So it's like, 3 games in one almost. And I always think that's a great deal, 3 games in one. So I did not like Act 2 though. I did not like how game. I didn't like all the abundance of any card that you could use and like building your own deck. I don't know. It just felt like I had been trained. Like I had a hard time moving from Act 1 to Act 2 because I was just like, I loved getting my same set of cards, which I know you have that in Act 2, but you have so many cards to pick.
Yeah.
And I really had a hard time like narrowing down like what kind of deck I wanted. I don't know. I don't know if you guys had the same experience, but or I just was missing something.
I definitely latched onto the one, like there are four basic mechanics in the game. There's the, if you go the nature guy route, it's like you sacrifice things in order to play cards. There's the one where is Bones its own separate one? Yeah, that's like the necromancy type of one. And then there's the tech one where you have to like build up energy over time. And then there's the gems and the witch one. And so I definitely, when I saw all of those different cards and all those options, and I was like, I'm not going to sit here and build a 20 plus card deck out of all of these things and find out which ones work together. I 100% was like, I'm going to focus on the energy one with the robots, and I'm going to click the auto make my thing button, and I'm going to let it build my deck, and then I'll like tweak it from there with a couple things. And I just ignored the other systems until I had to play them, like in the third act.
Yeah, I had a lot of people tell me that they didn't like Act 2 as well, or that it was their least favorite. I was into it because, okay, so I love when you get to Act 2, the aesthetic changes. The game deletes itself or resets or whatever, and it goes back to 8-bit to like probably what the game originally looked like, right? And then I was like, oh, I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games on my Game Boy Advance. And it just reminded me of playing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game on a Game Boy Advance. And I just auto-completed all the time. It is a lot, though, especially when I got to the Wizard Tower. And I was just trying to like figure out how to beat this dumb wizard. I was like, I just brute forced it. I'm like, I'll just do this. I'll autocomplete and just keep doing this over and over and over again. There wasn't strategy. So there's a lot of options, but I didn't hate it as much as most people, but most people, it's their least favorite thing for sure.
I did find it frustrating that for a lot of it, it felt like the same. It felt like I was starting over from scratch and just doing the same thing again. Especially going after nature guy again, Lishi, Leshy, Papa John's.
Oh yeah.
Like
actually, I didn't go after him first because I was like, I'm not gonna do this again right now. Yeah. Which was a cool choice because that is one cool thing about this game because there's not one way to play it, and I do like that. So I get used to like, am I playing this the best way? Sometimes I get in my head about an experience, and I'm like, I want to look up some stuff because I don't want to miss anything. And I also just want to have the best experience. I don't know. I think something that Mass Effect has broken in me, that I'm afraid I'm going to miss something or I'm going to miss a challenge and have a better ending, stuff like that. So I didn't want to look up anything, but I was always like, should I go do this or am I missing something? And it sort of made me nervous to like go to the next section. Am I finishing this? I don't know. But it is cool that you sort of are left up to playing your way, but it can be a little intimidating sometimes.
What were some of your like overpowered cards or mechanics? Like, what are some of the things that like carried you through the game? My first one, and I think the reason I beat the first act so quickly is there's the mechanic where you get the jar and then you get the head, and that like determines like every beast has this thing or every squirrel does this, and so early on, every time I played a squirrel, I got an item. Like one of the like cut up your cards or fish hook or replenish your health or whatever it is. So I got that basically right off the bat on my third playthrough. And that's the one that I won because it's just like I'm fucking using these cheat OP items all the time and replenishing them every single turn. So that's what I think got me through that so easily is that OP combination that I got pretty early. What about y'all?
Any of the cards with the sigil, because that's what I think that's what they're referred to as, like the sigils on the card. Anytime I got to combined or still, like if you ended up in Act 1 specifically, when you got to, I guess when you died and you got to make a card, but you also got to combine cards at times, like any sigil that allows my card to come back after death was just always awesome, especially combining that with a card that just hits for a lot of points. Or you get lucky and like turn your card into it's little wooden guys in the woods that are like either going to eat your cards or get you more power.
Oh, the power up.
Audrey
Yeah.
loves risking it all in that, and I hate it. I
Wait
only
a
like to
minute.
give
Hold
like
on.
a sacrifice once. Do you know what I'm talking about?
At the campfire, like you're like
The
give him a
campfire,
card.
yeah.
And,
In Act
yeah.
1, when you could choose like either to sacrifice your card, or it's like a risk. Like you either get like 2 plus like hit points, or they get eaten. Your card like
Really.
I didn't know
gets
eating
eaten.
was I went to those a ton, and every single time it was just like,
You're so lucky then, because like Audrey just
I didn't
loves to
know that was a
spam,
thing.
and babe, she'll be like, "I'm gonna do it again." I'm like, "Babe, no, it's already got like 5 hit points. Don't do it." It was just like killing me, and then I would watch her card
oh
get
my
eaten
god!
by
If
the
I
cannibals.
had known that was a possibility, because it was weird that they're just like, oh yeah, you got extra hit points, and they look very hungry, and it was like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then just said that every time. It was like, okay.
If you
These
do
are
it
just
once, I
power-up
think you're
stations.
fine. But if you chance it, that's when they can start eating your cards.
I did it every time. That's so
Yeah,
wild.
but you only did it once though. So you didn't do it multiple times, right? Like on one card.
You
like-
could go back and visit that same
Yeah, you can
spot
keep
multiple
when it
times.
says they're
Oh,
hungry,
no.
you can chance it and keep doing it over and
Keep
over.
going.
Gotcha. No, I
Yeah.
just visited each spot once.
I did it once. I'm like, I'm out. You're not eating my
Yep.
cards. I'm gone.
Audrey just loved taking the risk, and it just really gave
That's
me a lot of
wild.
anxiety. But
It's good.
yeah,
S-
any card that can come back from death is like the best. I love when I have that.
Yeah, the way I beat Act 1, similar thing where I got the little squirrel totem, and I think it was whenever you sacrifice a squirrel, it goes back in your hand, or something like that, or your squirrels can't be killed, or some nonsense. Where basically one squirrel and I could just summon everything because I could just keep reusing
Ooh,
them
yeah.
over and over and over again as a. So it's like, oh, I need 3 sacrifices. Put down 3 squirrels. Boom, boom, boom. There's my super powerful dude off top. Oh, and I can keep some like the first turn I would just be like a full board. And I'm like, all right,
Nice.
let's go. And I would just destroy it. And that one was super. And then you mix that with little dudes who saw your guys in half and put them back together. And you just have like, my monster does 12 damage and I can get it out on the first turn every single time. Boom. I was in there. That was great.
One of my favorite combos when you're in the third area and you start like upgrading your cards and like creating them from scratch and stuff like that. One of my favorite combinations of things was to take a card that could hit multiple places, like maybe diagonally twice or something like that, and combine that with the perk that lets you choose which spots you hit. In addition to if you get hit, no matter what damage it is, that creature's dead. So I could like park that thing out on the corner of the board and then just have it hit whatever spot on the board I wanted to, and those creatures immediately die. And it was just like, that was my go-to.
That's good.
We've talked about some bosses. We've talked about items and cards and shit like that. What about like story, ARG, the videos? Like, tell me about your experiences with all of that and how wild all of that stuff is.
It's insane. That's all I'll say. It is wild. So Chad, how much of the story do you know?
I beat the game, so I've
Okay.
played through the whole thing and I've seen the story. I've like loosely followed the whole thing basically. Like I was like, okay, it's a floppy disk is buried in the woods. It's the whole point is that this game on the floppy disk is like looking to be uploaded and put onto the web by P03, I think is his name, P03.
Yeah, PO3. And they stop him, and then that lady comes and shoots old Lucky Gamer in the head. Did you see that part?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the part. That's the ending that you did see. Gotcha.
Yep.
There's more,
But
anyways,
there's
Cherokee,
like
go ahead.
what I did. I also looked up is like there was in the middle of one of the videos, like there's like it glitches out and shit like that, and there was like a blurry sequence of letters and numbers. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to be important later. I took a picture of it, and then it never came up again. I was like, I had no idea where to put that. And then I went and found out about the ARG, and where it's like like these are ciphers for codes, and you find them in all these weird batshit areas, and then you put them all together and decipher them, and that brings you to a site, and that brings you to this, and then there's another YouTube video, and then you like go to shit, and then you have to like submit your email address, and the first 5 people got a link to a private unlisted YouTube video that reveals the real ending. I was like, this shit is wild. I can't believe
crazy.
that there were people that were able to like sacrifice that many hours of their life in order to do this, but it's incredible
It's so
that
cool.
exists.
Yeah.
What's
I was
more?
sad I didn't get to play it like when everybody else was for the first time.
Yeah.
I was so behind. But it is cool that like, you know, I feel like I even read that someone was able to physically get something ordered or mailed to them at one
Yeah.
point. Like,
Ooh.
There was like
yeah,
5 people like to get the final unlisted YouTube video. There were like
that
the
was
first
it.
5 people to
Okay.
give their address got mailed something with like a cipher in
I
it or
would be
something.
afraid to do that. I don't know. I don't want that lady coming over trying to shoot me, you know? Like,
You mean Casey?
it's good. Yeah, that lady, Casey. I don't like her. I don't trust her.
Yeah, again, the RG is wild. The true story. So, unless Yerka, do you want to cut in? I
Oh,
can. I think
go
I've
ahead.
understood it.
No,
Okay.
please.
So there's a video game that he finds in the woods because he buys a pack of cards that have coordinates on them. That's Casey's mom's house. That she's important. Casey made a video game, and then tried to destroy it, which is the floppy disk is the one thing that's left. So basically this card dude is like, I'm gonna play this video game because I like cards or whatever. Um, and basically the chat is it gets wild. The disc itself has a code on it called the old data, which is a thing you see at the end of it. The old data, Hitler had a stack of cards in his pocket when he died. And these cards had a sequence of numbers, which is called the Karnoffel code. And the Karnoffel code, if you put it into the sequence, is like occult, evil, Satan power incarnate, if you know these numbers in a row. So that information
This
was
is a
put,
real life thing, not a game thing.
well, this is what the game
Karnoffel
came
code?
from.
Okay.
The Karnoff, well, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's an evil code, right? So Hitler had cards in his pocket that summoned the devil. The
Nice.
Soviets took this information and put it on a disk. An American spy stole it from the Soviets and then put it on a floppy disk, one floppy disk amongst like 1,000 blank floppy disk, and brought that back to America. And the game company that oh boy calls, it seems to be like a were the spies, like a cover for the spies, right? So Casey was like working at this place, discovered this disc that had Satan's number on it, and then they were making a game, and the Satan's number gave sentience to the things inside of the video game. So the old data is stuck in the game. You cannot destroy the disc because we see he tries to destroy it. You can't destroy it, and they're all sentient because of Satan's numbers is in the disc. And then so again, that's why everyone's evil. That's why everyone's going through it. Satan computer program is alive. And that's why, so like Leshy was there at the beginning because Casey helped Leshy picture all the other guys, put them away because Leshy wasn't really evil. He just wanted to play cards. Fucking PO3 wanted to take over the world. Leshy's like, I just want to play cards. Because that's all he does. If you notice in the game, whenever he kills, he just want to play cards. He doesn't really want to do anything evil. He's a good guy. So all that goes through. They think they delete the disc. They come and shoot the guy in the head and take the evil Satan numbers back. And at the very end of the game, you see his computer boot back up and you see PO3's face on it and he like uploads. So it's like, oh, he did actually end up uploading it in time before everyone killed him. And then it shows you basically Steam and it's like, hey, there's this new game on Steam called Inscryption. Everyone check it out. And it's like, oh shit, I'm playing the fucking evil Satan fucking video game. Like me and Adam, who went to buy Inscryption on Steam, I am now a part of the thing. So that's basically it. Yeah,
That's
evil
wild.
Satan
Yeah, I
numbers from
missed a lot of
Hitler and sentience. Do what now?
I missed a lot of that.
Yeah, that's all ARG stuff. That is stuff I read on Wikipedia and fucking because I did not go that far in. But yeah, basically, Satan, Hitler infected a video game and they became sentient and wanted to upload themselves to the world. So you have Satan on your PlayStation now, just letting you know. And there's a lot again with Casey about like her like dying in a fire and trying to make a game. There's a lot. This dude, Daniel Mullins, loves this shit. This is all he does in all his games. He's like, it's a game about a pony, but actually. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
I think it's safe to say we would all recommend this game, yeah? If we're we're calling this a review, like this is a go play.
Put Satan on your things, I guess. Great.
Put Satan on me, daddy. All right, so I think we're pretty much coming towards the end. Is there anything that we haven't covered yet? They're like, I am itching to talk about blank.
I would just say, again, play the game. It's great. And the way I explained it it's still probably not doing it enough justice. Just play the game and then go look up on YouTube like Inscryption real story or something like that, because it goes deep. I think it's even connected to one of his old games called Hex.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I read a little bit about that because I was like, if there's more by this guy has made more things like this. I want to try them. But there are like some cards, I guess, that are connected to that original game. I guess that's the last game he made. I don't know. But there are some callbacks to it, so I'm interested. I just wanted to download it and see what it was and if I can make any connections.
He's got me hooked. That's all I'll say. He's got me hooked. He's got it.
That guy.
All right. Well, thanks for both of you for joining me for this Respawn Aimfire reviews. Jerica, thank you so much for joining us from JK Games. Everyone go listen to JK Games. It stands for Jerica and Kayla. It's not for just kidding.
Yeah.
It's JK Games. Go follow them at JK Games Podcast on Twitter. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
Perfect. Go check that out. Y'all do streams too, right? Like I see
Yeah, we
Kayla
try
over there
to
playing
stream
all the
every
time.
episode now. Luckily, if things are working, like the internet, you got a taste of that earlier. But yeah, we also stream and upload to YouTube.
Dope. Go check all that out. Subscribe, share, etc., etc. Adam, you guys still doing season 2 of Isle of Misfit Rolls?
Yeah. Check out the podcast about D&D. There are no Satan numbers in it yet.
Yet. Ooh. I just finished all of the Adventure Zone that's currently out, so I'm looking for a new D&D podcast. It's going to be Isle of Misfit Rolls.
Hey.
And for me, y'all just come to my house in San Jose. Everyone come to my door. Kiss my dog.
Okay.
That's it, everyone. Go play Inscryption if you haven't already. And if you listen to all of this, then you're an idiot. I told you not to at the beginning. All right,
Right.
everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.